So next I'm going to talk about the front end, which won't be that extensive. To get things running, you can just head over to sdk.dfinity.org and just look up front end, customizing the front end. And then you end up on this page, and this gives you a quick intro on how to get started. Yeah, most interesting thing will probably be that I'm using a JSX file, which means that I can use HTML inside a JavaScript document. And for that case, I need to change the name of my entry point file from index.js to index.jsx, but this is also explained in the tutorial. So yeah, let's dig into it. A very nice thing is that I can just import my canister, my game of life canister, into this file, and I can then access the functions that have been made public by the canister. So I can access all functions in here that have a public keyword or an asynchronous keyword, which automatically makes them public. Like, for example, the start function or the tick function or the query add a render function and so on. And the syntax is very easy and very straightforward. So for example, if I want to populate my universe, which I do by clicking this button, I just save the values inside the elements, like the new entry width is this field and the new entry height is this field, and I just say, when I call the do populate function, I just save the values inside these variables, and then I call the game of life canister with the populate function, and the populate function is this one here. It takes two naturals. So what do? We actually convert those into integers first, and then we pass it over to the canister, and the canister then populates my universe. Very easy, very straightforward. Next thing would be the get universe function, which is this button. This does the same thing the other way around. So I call the canister. As you can see, as it's an asynchronous function, I have to await the value before I can use it. So I await the game of life .get width function, and then I pass the outcome to an integer and store it into this element. So the get width function has been defined somewhere here. Yeah, exactly this one. So this one returns a natural after calling it. So also pretty easy. Just a dot notation here to call a function, and of course you have to sometimes convert some values. The do start calls the game of life start function. This was the function that was printing to the terminal. Then we have the do render, which is a little bit more complicated. This implements a render loop. I first look for the element which has the idea game of life canvas. The HTML inside the JavaScript document is down here. So this would be the element with the idea game of life canvas. And then we head inside the render loop. We wait for the output of game of life render. And what does render actually do? As we remember, render outputs a string, and the string represents the current state of our universe, or of our cells. So then the element text content is being filled with the string that is returned from the render call to our game of life canister. And what we then do is we actually get our universe, which just returns the array, and we save this into old universe, and then we make a tick. So we call the game of life tick function. What does tick actually do? Let me see here. This is the tick function. Yeah, tick, as the name already says, ticks and calculates the new generation, and also returns our array. So we then have an old universe and a new universe, should be familiar by now, and then we start a loop, and if the old universe is exactly the same as the new universe, we cancel the animation, or if this stopped is true, and this stopped is a variable of the React component, and there's actually a function, stop render, which sets this to true, and the function is being called if we click the stop render button. So this interrupts rendering or progressing with our universe. And then of course there's the render current button, and this also awaits the output of the game of life.render function. And down here is our HTML, which is pretty bare bone. It implements the table with the inputs and then all the buttons we can click. And yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed this small series. I've been very detailed about everything because the content is mostly addressed to people that are new to Motoko, and by the age of Motoko, I mean it's not even a year old, I think a lot of people are still unfamiliar with the language. So I took very small baby steps for everything, so it took a very long time to explain the project. Could have been done way faster, but I wanted to give people that are new to the language or the SDK or the tech stack of Dfinity or the internet computer a chance to actually maybe understand some things that aren't clear from the beginning on. So if you like this video and you are interested in Dfinity or Motoko or the internet computer, you should definitely sign up to the forum from Dfinity. The address is forum.dfinity.org. If you are looking for the documentation, it's sdk.dfinity, dfinity.org. And another cool thing, depending on the time you're seeing this video, is our tungsten event, which will happen the 30th of June in 2020. So if you want to join the event, you can head over to the forum, click the first topic, and there you can sign up. Some pretty interesting speakers there, and also an AMA section. Yeah, feel free to join, and see you next time. Goodbye.